everyone, welcome to my home and welcome to my channel, A Ginger Can. My name is Brian and today a ginger can make ezogelin. It's a Turkish soup and I love this soup. It was my favorite soup when I was in Turkey. And it's really easy to make. You'll need lentils. It wouldn't be lentil soup without lentils. These are brown lentils. Traditionally it's red lentils, but they're kind of hard to find. These have been soaking overnight, so they're nice and plump and ready to go. I've changed the water twice with those. You'll need about half an onion, some flour, some tomato paste. I add tomato sauce, and about 2 quarts of stock. Traditionally they say beef stock. I use chicken stock, but today I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I have a quart of vegetable stock that I made, and hopefully this winter I'll get to make this again because this stock is amazing. It's a roasted vegetable stock, and I canned it. So I've got a quart of chicken stock and a quart of vegetable stock. We're going to use my great-grandmother's Dutch oven for this, but any soup pot will work. The heavier the better. I like this. I also have an enameled cast iron Dutch oven that I used to use. It works just as well. The one key thing that you need though is an immersion blender, and a nice one. I have this one. I love it. It's Swiss and it's not for goofballs. So don't be sticking your fingers in these. I like this because it allows a lot more liquid to get around the blades, and I don't go sticking my fingers into this while it's spinning. It's the way I was raised. I don't know. But I'll leave a link down in the description below if I can find this and share it, because I love this immersion blender. You can use a traditional blender, but then you're having to put it in and take it out and do batches, and it's a royal mess. This makes the process a lot easier. So let's get into some prep work. I cleaned up a little bit, and this is the prep. You're going to want to soak your lentils overnight, get them nice and plump. This is a 1.5 cups of lentils. Red lentils, brown lentils, it doesn't matter. The red lentils tend to be a little bit tougher, and that's the reason I started using the immersion blender, just to give a nice creamy texture, and that's the way I remember it. The recipe that I was following initially didn't have you blend the lentils, and with the red lentils they were real tough and chewy, and it wasn't the texture that I remember. But blending them worked out. And the only other preparation is you want to chop up half of an onion. These onions are rather large, and this is what I have left over. So I'm just going to use this and call it half an onion. So I'm going to chop this up fairly finely, but it doesn't really matter. It could be kind of coarse because we're going to stick the immersion blender in and just blend everything to bits. So let me get this chopped up and I will be right back. I forgot to mention you need one more thing. You need some olive oil. Just enough because we're going to fry up these onions a little bit. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil, roughly. And I've got this on medium heat for this burner. Maybe drop it down a little bit lower. I'm just going to throw the onion in. And you'll want to cook this until it's translucent and not browned. We're not looking for caramelized onions in this recipe. Just soft enough. So we're going to cook these about 5 to 7 minutes, get them nice and soft. I like to add a little bit of salt as I block the camera with the cupboard door, just to help soften up the onions a little bit faster. Not too much, maybe half a teaspoon. And that helps get the moisture out of the onions and helps get the softening going a little bit faster. And I really love this recipe. I was pleasantly surprised when I made this for my boys when they were both really young, and they ate it up. I mean, I've never seen a vacuum cleaner pick up stuff off the floor faster. I mean, it was gone within a matter of minutes. I've never seen them eat dinner so fast. It's really good soup. It's super healthy. It's vegan friendly, so if you're not into meat, give this a shot, because you get a lot of the protein from the lentils. The other thing I like to do is use a good heavy soup pot. It's just what I do. Like I said, I used an enameled cast iron Dutch oven before. I've had this for a while and I've never really used it. I dusted the cobwebs off of it, and I use this at least once a week now for almost anything. It is so old inside that it is darn near glass smooth. I love this thing. I'm ashamed that I didn't use it before, because I love cast iron, and I do have an enamel cast iron Dutch oven, 5-quart. But this is seasoned well. So we'll give these a couple more minutes, and then I'll bring you right back, and we'll start throwing it together. This goes pretty darn fast until we get to the soup combining phase, and then it just melds together for a little bit. So I'll see you in a couple minutes. So what happened was I was arguing with my kids, and I didn't end up recording any of this. So I added about a tablespoon of tomato paste. In the middle, I created a well around the onions. I moved the onions to the outside. I added a tablespoon of tomato paste, and I let that cook for a little bit. While that was cooking, I added a tablespoon of flour over the onions. And I let it sit for a couple of seconds, and then I started mixing it together. And once it was mixed together, I added, 1 quart of the stock, just so that the tomato paste and onions didn't start to burn. Get that mixed in, and then I added the 2 pints, which is a quart, of vegetable stock, and I added 1 can of tomato sauce. I'm not sure I needed this because I added the vegetable stock. Normally I do 2 quarts of chicken stock, and I add this, and that gives it an extra depth of flavor. But this vegetable stock is roasted vegetable stock that I made myself, and it is amazing. If you cook it with rice, it really takes the rice up to the next notch. So I'm not sure if I needed the tomato sauce or not. We'll play it by ear and see how it goes. So I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and then we'll start adding the lentils. And I will bring you right back. I promise this time I will actually hit record. That didn't take very long at all. So we're up to a boil, and I'm going to scoop out my lentils with a strainer and put them into the soup. The last little bit is always a pain, so I take it to the sink, I rinse it out, and then I strain it, and then I get them all out and get them into the soup. We'll add some lentils. Bring this back up to a boil, and then we'll reduce the heat, and I like to let it cook for about 15 minutes. That helps get the lentils even softer. And then after that, we take the immersion blender and obliterate it. So I will bring you back for the next part with the immersion blender. See you in a couple of minutes. One of the reasons I like heavy soup pots is the heavy lids. This allows you to cook at a much lower heat and still get the same results. It's like a little pressure cooker. The lentils are really soft now. That soup stock smells amazing. So now we're going to blend this to oblivion. You can use a traditional blender, but you should really get yourself an immersion blender. I make my own mayonnaise. I haven't bought mayonnaise in years. I really don't use it that often though. So maybe once a year I'll use mayonnaise. I'm going to blend this until it's smooth. Chunks are okay. I remember Ezogelin being very smooth in texture. Let's check it out. That's a good consistency. So what I'll do is I will let this cook for another 15-20 minutes, and then it's done, and then we'll serve. So I'll catch you in a couple of minutes. I just got it off the stove. It's still steaming hot. It is absolutely gorgeous. So let's get some of this into a bowl. Now a couple of things to note. Traditionally, you don't splash it all over the counter. Also, you would want to add some bulgur to it, which is a wheat grain. But here where I live, it is ridiculously expensive. They think it's artisan or something stupid, and so I haven't used it in years. If you're going to use Bulgur, and you can find it relatively cheaply, add about 1/4 of a cup to no more than 1/3 of a cup to 2 quarts of this, and let it cook for an additional 20 minutes and let it puff up. It has a really good texture to this. You can add a little bit of lemon juice. What I would normally do, I don't have lemon juice right now, is I would add it until I can taste just a little bit, and then that's enough. Usually it's about a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half, and there we have a Turkish soup. Ezogelin. I love this soup, my boys love this soup, it's a staple in this house, it's easy to make, very few ingredients. Give it a taste. That vegetable stock really adds a good amount of flavor to this. So there we have it. This has been a Ginger Can. My name is Brian, and a Ginger Can make a Turkish soup, ezogelin, a lentil soup, all vegetables. You don't have to use chicken stock if you don't want to. You can use vegetable stock, as I have. I did a mix, and it came out beautifully. So if you're vegan, this is great for you. If you just had dental surgery, like my mother did, this is good for her because it's very little chewing. My boys love this. If you want to add a little bit of texture and you don't have Bulgur, I have some prepared rice. I'll add a little bit to the bottom of the bowl and mix it in so it gives us some texture. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy this recipe. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below if you'd like to see more Turkish recipes like this. I do love Turkish food. There is a particular dish that I've tried to make. I am terrible at making it, and I really miss it. But it's just one of those things. I have to go back to Turkey for it. And that's just one dish. I will catch you in the next video.